For 1 week, some socio-cultural, educative and manual activities have occupied youths of Cameroon in pre-anniversary activities to mark the 47th National Youth Day celebrations on the eve of February 11, 2013. The theme of the Youth Day celebration is youth, civic responsibility and participation in the development process. Young persons of all ages were mobilized in a diverse array of activities in some extracurricular domains such as games, manual work, campus debates and discussions.
Youth Day represents a festival during which youths are called upon to display their talents, to celebrate as it is commonly said.
It has to be a moment to teach patriotism to the youth. Youth have to develop and to work hard for the development of our country.
In Yaoundé, the nation's capital city, one could find students very engaged in a splendid display of their capacities in outdoor games, pitting inter-college competitions and capacity building activities. Even though many young people know very little about the symbolism of the Youth Day, the nation's authorities have decided to use this period to canalize youth abilities as well as sensitize them on youth social responsibility in emerging nation. As part of their support package to assist the government of Cameroon canalize youth capacities, the World Bank Country Office in Cameroon has organized a series of activities to mark the 47th National Youth Day. The activities were put under the banner of Youth for Active Participation in Cameroon's Development. The World Bank Country Office worked under the theme Canalizing Youth Inputs to Governance and Development.
This forum is something that we often do when the youth are having their Youth Day, their National Youth Day, because it falls within the framework of the creation of YDP, meaning Youth Development and Peace Network, that was created in September 2000 in Paris by our former president, Mr. Weffenson. So we want the youth to take care of themselves. We want to empower them, want to make them feel responsible for themselves and take their destinies at hand. We come to support the government. So what we do, we look at the things that are rampant in our society and we try to deal with it. We try to give our own voice to let the youth express themselves about those phenomena.
The World Bank Country Office organized activities that brought together more than 25 youth associations drawn from across the country. The most vulnerable of this young population are the young girls. They are mostly prone to violence and early marriages, especially if they come from poor backgrounds. The young girls in Cameroon have been facing many human rights abuses, either from family members or their immediate community. The pre-Youth Day activities, therefore, are earmarked to raise awareness among youths who, at times, promote youth aggression among their peers.
This morning, to talk to you about violence against women and girls in the era of HIV/AIDS. These are two things that you cannot separate.
We have talked about the HIV/AIDS faced by the society nowadays. Violence caused to women was also part of the debate. Pieces of advice were given to the women and young girls who suffered from the violence in their family. Some NGO or help structures were also presented. And in conclusion, youths were asked to adopt healthy behavior. We have the case of Mimboman, a neighborhood in Yaoundé, where there are cases of death and young girls suffering from violence. All this is as a result of sexual harassment. I think it is a good initiative, and we noticed that about 70% of the population affected with HIV/AIDS are youth, and as a result, Youth Day is justified.
We look at the situation of Cameroon and we realize that, be it in the world or in Cameroon, the prevalence of HIV among young people is very, very high. It's alarming. And not only that, but at about 60% of these young people who are infected are, girls. So we try to look at why these girls are infected, and then we came into findings where we had, violence like rape, violence like early marriages. You have maybe some social factors like female genital mutilation. You have polygamy. You have domestic violence, and several other violence which these children find themselves.
In Cameroon today, people are scared to say they have been raped or are HIV carriers because they do not want to be frustrated or rejected. When they are quiet, one cannot really know when the situation gets serious, since many children are victims in their families, and everyone claims not to see, as if ignoring will wipe the horrible act that was posed. I think it is time for women, young girls, and children to denounce their culprits.
As a matter of fact, over 50% of Cameroon population is young, and many of them are leaders of more than 2,400 organizations drawn from all walks of life. These groups generally receive assistance from international institutions which help them build youth networks, offer training, build capacity, and increase experiences and knowledge sharing. The World Bank Country Office in Cameroon is one of these institutions that have been working with youth leaders since 2000. They have assisted in summer camps as well as regularly organized No AIDS caravan in school milieu.
Si vous ne voyez pas cette peine sur mon visage, des larmes dans mes yeux, comprenez que j'ai été habitué à ce qu'elle coule à l'intérieur. Et nombreux sont ceux-là qui disent que mes jours sont comptés. Mais moi, je vous rassure qu'aujourd'hui, oui, aujourd'hui, la vie pour moi ne fait que commencer. Car je combattrai sans relâche cette maladie qui est le VIH-Sida. Je te barrerai la route pour que tu ne te propages pas.
Opening the activities at Collège Vogt, the World Bank Country Director of Operations, Mr. Gregor Benket, spoke on HIV/AIDS and violence in youth milieu. Mr. Benket called on the youth to assume their responsibility as contributors to development in an emerging Cameroon. Other activities that were organized in Collège Vogt included plastic art exhibition by students. These students demonstrated their capacity to spontaneously come up with works that had links to the Youth Day theme. They were awarded prizes for such proficiency and mastery.
Qui ont affaire des violences envers les femmes. Et
The feedback has been very positive because last year we have one that was awarded an international prize for climate change, and we have so many of them now who have created libraries in their hometown, like in Kumbo, Bamenda, Bafut, Limbe, and here in Yaoundé we have several youth within the network who have created so many things to help the other children be at the same level like them, because we do not cover the entire territory, the entire nation, and they are the ones to do that job.
This collaboration has been going on since the 1990s. Then in some years was more active, and some years was a little bit less active. So now we've become very active. So we're working through these associations in various activities. And the World Bank, we're also involved in many projects. Of course, normally our projects are much more linked to infrastructure, to social issues. But it's always important also to associate civil society, and even more so also we are very proud that we can associate youth associations.
The direct involvement of the World Bank Country Office in marking the 47th Youth Day celebration could not have gone unnoticed. But what pushed this total engagement is part of World Bank's tradition to assist the authorities to build youth capacities.
It is